Hey guys, welcome back to my small city garden. As you can see, trees are in leaf, flowers are coming up, but I do have a plan when it comes to some of the seed starts that we started over winter time. So let's head to the snapdragons and I'll show you what I got planned. Alright guys, so right here I have a tray of snapdragons. These snapdragons have been growing on for quite some time now, and as you can see, they're not very large, but I do plan on doing some pinching, which essentially just means I'm going to pinch it back a little bit so it can bush out more than grow as one stem. The way I'm going to kind of achieve that is I'm going to go down to like leave 2 sets of leaves. So I'm just gonna use my fingers to pinch it, and I took off that amount, but I left I don't know if you can tell, but I left quite some amount left here. When you pinch back your snapdragons, it kind of like triggers a response for it to shoot out new shoots in between these nodules. You can kind of see that there are shoots preparing to come out in between the leaves in the stem. But I'm gonna go through and do that with everything inside this tray of snapdragons and then everything in that tray of snapdragons. And if you're new to the channel, we have the monocle orange snapdragons that we started. We have the, I believe, Madam Butterfly Bronze. Then in the other tray, I think that might be just all one specific snapdragon. It is the Madam Butterfly Pink. But anyhow, we're gonna get the pinching and then we'll move on to the next thing. This might have looked very drastic, cutting all of these guys back, but trust me, I've done this multiple times already, at least a few years now, and it always turns out the best. The ones that I usually leave alone, they get lanky, long, and they don't really have much growth to them, but when you pinch them back, they really bush out, and they look amazing because they bush from the base up. Also, you might have seen me use my fingers to pretty much trim these guys back, hence the words pinching snapdragons back. Now, you can use executors, but I don't think there's any point to it when you can just quickly go around with your fingernails and easily pinch them back. And notice I did leave about 2 sets of leaves, if not 3, on some of them. The next thing that I wish to get done is put the ranunculus inside this container here. I've been pretty late to doing this, so hopefully we get a good amount of flowers. I'm gonna just go ahead and rough up the soil bit here and get my ranunculus in. And this, by the way, is a wooden container. I've used this container before to plant ranunculus in here. I also added a bit of compost to kind of renew the soil, just slightly. This container is also a mix of ranunculus that I've purchased some years back and just been saving throughout the years, pretty much drying them, putting them indoors, then bringing them back out. I can't remember what was all in here, but I know there's like pink types, maybe some orange types, and then a few white versions of ranunculus. I'm gonna gently try and tease these guys apart without ripping up the roots too much. And There we go, that's one. Or maybe we'll do this. I'm gonna put the camera down and we'll do this so that we can focus. So I'm not gonna overfill this container with ranunculus, but I'm gonna separate them, kind of give them some space, and then get them in this container. We have several containers around the garden that I would like to put some ranunculus in. And then as the season progresses, we might remove them and refill them with some sort of summer crop or summer plantings. Yeah, this probably seems like it's enough. Okay. Now that I've got them separated, we'll go ahead and tuck them into the soil, lay them down. I'll try and get all the roots buried, because that's the goal in mind. Oh, I can do it. And if it's too many, I'll probably end up removing some of the ranunculus. All right, so everything's in. And I think what we'll do is we'll come back through, we'll get them watered in. We might end up adding a bit more compost in here, like over top of some of the exposed roots, you know, but we did get a majority of the roots buried. Probably want to do this a lot earlier than what I'm doing this, because the roots were kind of a bit overgrown, and it's easier to move them when they don't have too much growth on them. Just removed the rest of the ranunculus from this tray because I plan on putting them one inside this cement container, then another. I think these are terracotta, but just covered in blue. I have two of them that we're gonna get potted up. Now again, these are a mix of ranunculus, so I'll have several colors within these containers. So when it comes to ranunculus, I feel like they fit together. And you'll see eventually when we get to it later in the season, when I divide these guys, they either triple, double from just the one little piece that we originally put inside the ground. And that's how I get so many. I started with 3, at least for everything that you just recently seen get planted. All started from 3 plants. And now it's a total of who knows how many. So I might end up moving the containers around, but I did put one underneath a Japanese maple tree, and then the other also under a Japanese maple tree. My thought process was when they grow up, they might shade some of the hostas in the area, as well as the Japanese maple and whatnot. But since it's not fully leafed out, you know, it's a pretty sunny area. Then we have one back there as well. I might end up moving these areas around, or moving the pots around, based off of how I feel, I guess. The next batch of ranunculus are going to be the Cafe au Lait. I am trying to get them out the container because they are with anemones. At least the anemones are in the middle. They started putting on growth as far as anemones go. I just want to get the ranunculus out and get these planted in ground. By the way, these will be going into the garden. Oh, well, I'll have to separate them when we get out there. While I was at it, I did pick up another variety of ranunculus. Now, these guys aren't as far along since they were recently put into this container. And these are called the Purple Sensation. So Purple Sensation off the side here, and then the Cafe au Lait. I'm not sure as to whether ranunculus love full sun, but I usually try and put them in partial shade. I think they do best in partial shade, at least in my opinion. So this is kind of a full sun area. I'm contemplating over here, but there is slight bit of shade from the fir tree when it comes to late in the day as well as early in the day from this first fir tree. So my thought process is put the purple sensation in this area. I'm gonna lay them out first. Hopefully they do well here without a single issue. Then we'll come back and dig them up later on in the season as they kind of dry out and fade back to the ground. I'm gonna get these guys in ground and then we'll go to the area where I plan on placing the cafe au lait. Now that these guys are in ground, I am going to bury them. I try to leave them uncovered so I can remember where each one was placed, so I don't accidentally stab into one with the hori knife. Oh, looks like I forgot to place one. I found one not buried. I also stuck the purple sensation label right in between here so I can tell which ranunculus it is when it comes time to storing these guys later in the season. As for the cafe au lait, I did already put the label right in the middle of where I want the ranunculus. This is kind of a boring area, at least that doesn't have too much color. It has a ton of ferns. There will be some lilies later in the season. You can see a few of these snakehead fritillaria here, but other than that, there's not much color. So I was thinking just add these ranunculus here. It'll provide some color. There will be a hosta growing here as well. Hopefully it doesn't shade out the ranunculus completely, as it is a Francais, and I believe usually it comes out to about here. So I just got done putting everything in ground. By the way, this is near an area where we get licorice fern growing throughout, but the plan is to come back through, water everything in, get the containers watered up, and then calling it pretty much a day for the garden. But I'll get that done in my own time, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, peace.